All right. Now it's 9:36. I think we can slowly begin. There are more than 30 students already in the session right now. Inshallah, more will be joining. Um, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for today's webinar, Decoding and Mastering Common Job Interview Questions for Success. This session is part of our LCC502 Collaborative Teaching Initiative. We are thrilled to have such an enthusiastic audience ready to gain insights that could make a big difference in their career path. I am Nur Shazoni Manso, your moderator for today. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Najib Nur Rashid. Dr. Najib is currently a lecturer in Malay Linguistics at the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, University Brunei Darussalam, UBD. He holds a PhD in Applied Linguistics from UBD, a master's degree in Social Linguistics from the University of Essex, and a first class honors bachelor's degree in secondary education specializing in Malay language and linguistics, also from UBD. Throughout his academic journey, Dr. Najib has achieved numerous accolades, including university book prizes, a silver medal, and an academic excellence certificate. His professional experience spans diverse roles, including working as an editor at Radio Television Brunei and serving as an adjunct professor in both Brunei and Thailand. He is also an accomplished researcher with publications in prestigious platforms such as Cambridge University Press and Elsevier, among others. Dr. Najib's career trajectory is a testament to the power of preparation and excellence, skills that align perfectly with the topic of today's webinar. His experiences in academic and professional settings underscore the importance of mastering job interview techniques. As someone who has excelled in various roles and contexts, he brings invaluable insights to help you decode the nuances of common job interview questions and use them to your advantage to the participants here. And inshallah, today, Dr. Najib will provide tips and strategies that you can adopt your future interviews. And remember, every successful career begins with a successful interview. Before we proceed, I would like to remind all the participants that this session will be interactive. Dr. Najib values your engagement and would love to hear your input from your side. Yeah, so please be ready to participate actively and make the most of this opportunity. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Najib Nur Rashid. Dr. Najib, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and good Friday actually today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Shazwani and Puan Norlizawati for inviting me to be part of this, I think, global classroom initiative, I believe. Can you hear me clearly? All right.
Yes, doctor, clearly.
Good. Right. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I'm very glad, and it's really nice to hear your description about me. I don't even know and think of me that way, but thank you very much for putting it in a very nice words. So today, right, as mentioned by Dr. Shazwani earlier, we'll be talking about decoding and mastering common job interviews for future career prospects and path, yeah, for our undergraduate studies students. Yeah, so because I have my slides on, could I share it already? Yeah, just present now. Right. Wait. Do you see it?
Yes, it's clearly here.
All right. Let me. Present this view. All right. Right, could you see it?
Yes.
Right. But right, this is I'm not very familiar with Google Meet, so I can't see you, but I can see my slides. So it should be fine, right?
Yeah. Should it
Okay.
be a problem? I'll let you know if anything problem later on, yeah?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Okay. All right. This is the poster that you nicely put together for me. Thank you very much.
No
So the
problem.
session should be in 2 hours, I believe. So I will be making use of maybe 1.5 hours for some sort of interaction and a bit of lecture, and then the rest of the 60 minutes perhaps for question and answer in the end of the end of the lecture. Yeah. Yes. This is
Okay,
me,
yeah.
Dr. Muhammad Najib Nur Rashid. You can just call me Najib for short. A little bit about me, even though you have explained it very comprehensively before. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is my pretty much my CV, short CV. Yeah, I also I've been in a few interviews as well to recruit in terms of recruitment, and I have lots of experience in asking people questions or job interviews. And I also worked as consultant before in terms of communication and also how to communicate verbally and also in written form in terms of publications. This is yeah, about me. So my first question, what do you expect from today's session? Could I have my students' answers?
Sorry, Dr. Najib, are you at the slide? Okay, all right. Okay, now it's moving. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so
so this
question
is
from Doctor. Okay, so students, you can unmute your mic to answer Dr. Najib's questions, or you just can write in the chat box, and I will read later on or right now. What do you expect from today's session? Okay. What do you want to hear from Dr. Najib, perhaps?
mhm.
Anyone would like to unmute your mic or, write the response in the chat box, perhaps?
Hi, Doctor.
Hello, Nur Amira.
Sorry, I can't open the camera. By
Sorry.
the way, my name is Nur Amira Shafika. So what I expect from this today's session is I really hope that I can learn new things, especially from your experience on um, like your experience during your interview session and so on. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. Can I have one more student to tell me the expectation in terms of today's session?
All right. Thank you, Amira, for the insights just now. Let's have another one. Okay. Anyone? You are free to talk, yeah? I know students love to talk.
Yeah, that's great. Knowing about
Okay,
how
Kufasi.
we going to handle our interview. All right. Thank you very much, Amira, and also
Kufazira.
yeah, Kufazira. Yeah. In my lectures, I like to hear students' voices. Yeah, I like to interact with interacting with them just because I believe that during interaction you would remember things more than just by listening. Yeah. So yeah, let me. So, outline of today's session. Okay, introduction and a little bit about understanding what job interviews is, also preparation to job interview, and then we will understand and decode some of common job interview questions that you may face in the future, and we will do some sort of reflection in terms of what are good and bad interviews, and a little bit of some activities and advanced tips for success, and then we will do a question and answer afterwards. So it's really important, I think, I believe it's really important to do some sort of a research before you actually embark in a job interview. Yeah, so for me, it's always good to understand statistic and what has been done and what has been researched on, what has been found in terms of job interviews, for you to actually understand how the real world or how the real situation out there. So there's some statistic that you might want to see. So if you look at, these are all the job recruitment statistical evidence that have been conducted by lots of institutions out there. So 73% of job seekers usually feel that it is one of the most stressful experience in their life. It is understandable because, a departure from doing your degree or doing your master degree or PhD even, it is the time for you to kind of have that expectation, it's a transition in life. Of course, it's the most stressful experience because you want the best for your future, because you will be living in it and for it every day for the rest of your life. So yes, that is understandable. And for a job opening, typically receives around 250 applications, but only 4 to 6 candidates are shortlisted for an interview. It shows how competitive it is out there. Why is it gone? Could you see my slides? That's it, okay. Right. Sorry, Dr. Shazwani.
Sure. No problem. Okay, now we can see your slides.
Okay. And then referrals are 5 more effective than other means of hiring. It means that, what is this? Sorry. So it shows that I need to show, yeah. So it means that I can't see you. Yeah, but I will just go through this without seeing the audience.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, so it means that referrals are 5 more effective than other means of hiring. So referrals here means your references. Yeah, throughout your, in the end of your CV, usually you would have references. So you have to put those who actually know you professionally in order for them to give good reviews about you. And it is always the most important mean of hiring, and recruiters usually refer to your references. And yeah, and on average, a job interview would last about 40 minutes. Yeah, if your job interview lasts very quickly, it might not be a really good indicator. Yeah, so it usually ends around 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah, in average. Interviewers typically form an opinion within the first 7 minutes of the interviews. Job interviews, first impression is very important, because that is probably the only time that the recruiters or the interviewers would see you and would listen to you and understand you. So the first 7 minutes is very, very important. So you have to clinch that interest from the recruiters during the first few minutes, yeah? And nonverbal communication accounts for approximately 55% of communication. It means your body language, how you show your interest, how you do eye contact, are also very important. And 70% of employers would use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process. This is very, very crucial and very imperative. Everything that you put out there, no matter on your Instagram, on your Facebook, or today like TikTok, would also be counted when people do job interviews. They will look into that and how this whether this would match their culture, work culture, or their people. Yeah, I have my very hands-on experience on this, and I will talk about it more later. And approximately 85% of employers also caught applicants lying on their resumes, which is not good, because you have to be very consistent. And sometimes if you lie in your resumes and it doesn't match with your interview, would raise doubts, and you would probably jeopardize your chance to get a job. Yeah, and 90.6% of employers prefer their candidates to have work experience. Yes, this is very much out there, but also this does not mean that those who don't have any work experience wouldn't be good, but you could give some sort of like a prospect in your job interviews and how you can do the job, and that's fine. And the most common interview mistakes made by job applicants usually because applicants don't ask good questions, because it means if you don't ask good question, it means also you are not interested in the job scope or job roles, and in a way that you haven't done enough research on the role, on the institution, also the people who are involved in. And also if you talk too much, that you deliberate information that are not even relevant, it could be a problem as well. And also if you appear disinterested, because yes, of course, job recruiters or job interviewers would want their applicants to be interested in what they are doing. Yeah. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. All right. Understanding job interviews. So this is pretty much the critical part of it. Interviews are vital for employers and recruiters to assess potential employees for the usual criteria such as education and experience skills. So this is very much what you would know. Your education background as well as your experience are the most focused aspects that employers and recruiters would see. But also, it is extremely significant to know that your soft skills, your behavior, and overall personality during the interview are also accounted as part of the hiring process. So the way you communicate, how you balance between being confident or being cocky, that's very important, and how positive you are, how optimistic you are as part of the institution, and how your overall personality would match with the people in the institution. So how you balance all these are very important, not just your education and experience skills, because obviously in a job interview that may have, let's say, 20 candidates would be graduated from the same institution or would have the same experience. But these soft skills, behaviors, and overall personality could be an add-on values that you have that the other candidates might not have. Also, 40% of the interviewers agree that candidates' overall confidence affects their hiring decision. If you're confident enough to take on the job, to match how you have as an individual, as a professional individual, to the job scope and to the job role, it could affect how the interviewers see you. Yeah, of course, overall confidence also comes with great preparation. And I believe this is why we are here today, listening to my babbling in this lecture. We want you to be confident, so it comes with great preparation. Job applicants must remember to research about the interview and align their preparation accordingly to maximize their chances of success. So every job interview, for me, myself, for every job interview that I go to, I always research about the interview in overall aspects, such as the institution, the job scopes, potential job scopes, and potential job practices, also the culture of the institution, in order for me to understand how I can offer them what I have and how I can convince them that I'm the most valuable or reliable candidate in that particular job interviews. So yeah, a very good research about the whole aspect could actually lead you to the hiring process, good hiring process potential. Yeah, and every applicant should understand the purpose of the interviews as well. So you have to understand what employers are looking for: skills, cultural fits, and problem solving abilities. So therefore, throughout your university years, throughout your maybe a little bit of like working experience, you have to understand which one are the most valuable aspects in terms of abilities and capabilities. If you have been a leader in some sort of a committee or a teamwork, how do you highlight that during job interviews? And how your experience in terms of solving problems, big problems, small problems, when you are a student as well as when you are a worker is also are important to be highlighted during an interview. You have to be ready in terms of those aspects to be asked. Yeah. And also every applicant should understand the importance of preparation. Yes. And there are four main types of job interviews usually: traditional one-on-one, and panel interviews, which is very common. Panel interviews, you have a number of people in different, let's say, departments or different institution would sit together and do some sort of interviews with you. Behavioral and situational interviews, when you are put into a situation to do to test yourself. That would be more on the behavioral aspects, and also online and virtual interviews. I believe after COVID happened, online and virtual interviews have become some sort of a common practice that we have today, which I think is very much more difficult to handle in terms of how you project yourself in virtual interviews. Yeah. So I will put this: one important key to success is self-confidence, and self-confidence also comes with preparation. So preparation to job interviews. Yeah. So you have many stages that I feel you have to know, and imperative to clinch a deal or to clinch a job that you want. So at first, I believe that you have, as I said earlier, you have to research the company and the role. Of course, you would receive some sort of job advertisement or job calls or email that calling you for interview, regardless of whether you are specifically being invited for that job interviews, or also from job interviews that advertisement that you would see maybe on newspapers or on TV. It is imperative for you to research the company, to study the mission, values, product, and services that they are selling. And also you have to understand the role that they are offering, whether it is executive officers a job or whether it is a managerial position. You have to understand and review the description thoroughly. Review the description on the job advertisement, or also maybe on the website, and identify the key responsibilities of these roles, just because it will come up during the interview. Yeah. And you have to learn also, this is what I do from time to time. I learn about the interviewers. Who are these interviewers? I will identify them. For instance, my own experience, I always attended interviews when it comes to being let's say lecturer or academic. I would try to identify who are these important people in that particular institution that I would look into. Maybe the head of department of the academic institution, also maybe the vice chancellor or the chancellor who would be in the interview. So I researched about them, and I will look into how they would communicate. So because it's very important for us and for me to kind of match my my vibe or my personalities to them. Yeah. And also after that, you have to analyze the job requirements, how the job requirements could be highlighted, and how your academic capabilities or abilities or experience would match into that, because you have to get ready with all the questions of like, why do you want this job? If you want this job, how would you be able to offer us your service? Yeah, those kind of questions will always come up. And these, when you analyze and when you do enough research about job requirements and the potential questions that come around there, you would be ready to answer these questions swiftly. And of course, you have to gather necessary documents in terms of preparing your CV. I think this is much understood by everyone, to prepare your CV, and also to make sure your CV, every CV that you submit should be tailored to that particular job role. If it looks into wanting you to look for like HRM position, like human resource managerial position, you have to amplify those aspects in your academic experience and also your work experience in terms of communication and how you manage certain committee or teamwork. That will be amplified in your CV. And of course, you have to prepare job interview questions and answers for you to get ready, in order for you to be familiar with the whole job aspects or the interview session. Yeah, and also it's important to practice and rehearse, but there's a limit to practicing and rehearsing in this aspects, because too much practice or too rehearsed answers are not that good as well. So you have to strike the balance about how to be natural during the interview. Yes, you can note things down which are important in terms of the job requirements, also the job specification, but also to sound natural. Because if you sound too rehearsed, it wouldn't sound honest. Yeah, so you have to strike the balance, because I had the experience of rehearsing too much in the past, that at one point I sounded robotic, which is not good. And actually, one of the interviewers told me that you sound too rehearsed, so it's not that good. So you have to strike the balance between having it natural as well. And also, it's important to manage pre-interview anxiety. This is understandable, because it is going to be a stressful situation. So try to find your pace and try to meditate as well. I meditate a lot before interviews. Even before every lecture that I do, I meditate a lot in order for me to find my own pace, so that I would be able to answer all the questions, or to deliberate my answers or my statement in a good flow. Yeah. And also plan in logistics, always ready to plan in terms of like how you go there, whether it's virtual interviews or whether it is one-on-one interview. It's very important to plan ahead of your logistics, to come on time, and maybe come before 15 minutes or 30 minutes before the interview, so you would be ready to calm down, and then to be able to answer your interview questions much more effectively. And then you sit for the interview, and always good to have a follow-up for post-interview, and I will tell you more about that later. Yeah. All right. What are the common interview questions that you have been asked? I would love to hear this from my students. What are the common interview questions that you have been asked before? Anybody?
Okay, what are the common interview questions that you have been asked? Okay, so I think at this level, as a degree or undergrad students, I think few of them have experience perhaps working as part-time. So
Yes.
yeah, a few of them have experience being interviewed, or even if you don't have experience. So I would say that I think they know or perhaps have certain ideas on what
Yes.
is the common questions regardless what type of job vacancy that you are having. So perhaps you could see or you can give the feedback on the questions from Dr. Najib. What are the common interview questions that you have been asked?
Um, Hello, hi,
Hello
Doctor.
again.
Yes,
Amira
Amira.
again. Okay. So for the common interview question, from my past experience, I actually have the experience working as a part time, but in F&B sector for like 5 years. But then I I get the offer to be as a training manager, and uh, I need to do the interview session with my area manager. Then for me, the usually or the common question that I get during the interview session is what kind of experience that I have, and then um, my skills. What else that I can do other than customer service, or maybe mm, I think that two only the common.
Okay. So basically, the common questions are your academic background, also your work experience, and how they match with the current application that you are submitting. All right. Can I have one more student? Thank you, Amira. Can I have one more
Okay,
student? Yeah.
another
Common
one.
job interview questions.
Perhaps from a guy. We have like so far response are from the ladies.
Yes, I want the guys. Yeah.
Ha.
Guys
Alright,
representation.
Assalamualaikum.
Hello.
Waalaikumsalam. All right. Finally.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Razana Harudin Birazan Azmi. So I just want to ask, maybe this question is I think is typical, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I need the answer
Okay.
because from my experience with the what we call that the person that works in the as a public servant, they said that the hardest question that we need to explain is introduce yourself. But
Yes.
so I just want to know
Yes.
how can we interpret the introduce yourself question? Is it have a format, or is based on the particular organization that we want to apply the job? So that's my question.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Raja Naharuddin. Thank you very much. Yes. What are the common questions? I actually expected that question, that answer from one of the students. All right. So let me put my slides on.
It's the simple question, yet
Yes.
the hardest
The
answer
hardest
actually.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Job interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Yeah.
Common. Common
I
yet.
Yes, to be honest, I feel like this is probably the hardest question in an interview because it kind of like it's quite philosophical in a way, but at the same time, it has to be factual. And this is when you have to, again, strike the balance between how you promote yourself as a candidate, but at the same time, not promising too much that you are telling, in a way, telling people some sort of expectation that are not even real. So yes, this is crafting it in terms of professional response is very tricky, but I will tell you more about this later. But these are all the common job interview questions that you would see usually imbued in an interview, in a job interview. Why do you want this job, and what are your strengths and weaknesses? And describe a time you face a challenge at work, and where do you see yourself in 5 years? These are common job interview questions that, regardless of what kind of jobs that you are in or you're applying to, these are some of the key factors, key questions that you would find. Yeah, whether they put it in a different form of questions, but these 5 elements are always there. Yeah. All right. You tell me about yourself. Usually it is to craft a professional narrative that connects your academic background and experience to the job role and its scope. Yeah. So when people ask you, when the interviewers ask you, tell me about yourself, you would sometimes you would answer too much that is not necessary, and sometimes you would not answering them in a suffice way. Yeah. Okay. When people ask you, tell me about yourself question, it's always good to understand that you already submitted your CV, right? So there is some sort of an understanding that both parties know that you guys know each other already. Yeah. So you don't tell too much. Yeah. So what you usually do, some sort of a template, just, okay, my name is Rajan Harudin. My age is, I'm probably like, let's say 25 years old, and I graduated with this like major in engineer and from this institution. And then you jump into like what I can do for this particular job role and scope. This is what I can offer. And if you could see in my CV, then you would refer back to your CV. I've done this and this and that. And this would be my strength and weaknesses, my strengths. And then you would close it just maybe around 3 to 4 minutes. Then you would close that question with, I will talk more about anything that you can ask me later. I will talk about it and anticipate more question and based on your interest. So it's in a way that you are controlling that question by giving a little bit about yourself, but also open the prospect about answering more from their questions. Yeah. That is usually how you tell me about yourself. Based on my own experience, yeah, in the past, I also tend to, one time I tend to tell like I'm a friendly individual. I have this quality and all those sort of things, but these are non-evidential responses. So you don't do something like that. You don't kind of like promise here and there without actually show evidence. So it's always good to reflect to your CV, but at the same time, the job roles and scope, but at the same time, always open to more questions from your interviewers. So it will show that you know that both parties are actually playing their roles as interviewers and interviewee, but at the same time, you would open to more discussion about your academic experience or background and all. So in a way that psychologically you're giving them some sort of a teaser, but also enough to be there for the 3 to 4 minutes. Don't go too long for tell me about yourself, because if you talk too much, sometimes that's when you would raise more mistakes in your responses. Yeah. And when people ask you about what are your strengths and weaknesses, you usually highlight the real life and honest examples, and this is where you balance optimism and pessimism. Yeah, of course, when you talk about your strengths, it is always good to accompany it with with examples. Let's say you have done a good job as a leader in a teamwork initiative or group work activities. You have to highlight that, and you have to give them with examples, real life examples, because you don't want just to say that I'm a great leader and I've done this and that, but maybe just real example that you would refer to a particular or specific project that you have done. And always good to be honest, because the more honest you are, it's easy for you to keep track on your responses. Yeah, because if you don't, if dishonesty is used, sometimes you won't be able to be consistent with your answers, and job interviewers would know that. And also, it's good to balance optimism and pessimism. For instance, if people ask you what are your weaknesses when it comes to doing this job, you don't want to amplify it too much to in a point that you actually reveal yourself for not being competent. Of course, there are a few answers that you could psychologically use. For instance, if people ask you like, "What are your weaknesses?" you would say, "Oh, I I I'm more focused. I'm an individual that I'm more focused in doing one job, and I can't do too much because I always want to focus on one job and excel in that particular job." And it's good. It's good. It's always to strike the balance. If you reveal about your weakness, but at the same time, how you mitigate that weakness is also important to be delivered during the interview. Yeah. And why do you want this job? It's always good to align your personal goals with company and institution objectives. In terms of like, this is to find the match between you as well as the company and institution. And describe a time you face a challenge at work. This is good to have an answer that describe the situation, the task that you have been given, and the action that you have done, and the result of the challenge itself. So it's good to kind of like tell a narrative, and it to be able to deliver it more effectively during the interview. And this is also a prospectus questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Highlight the personal professional goals with ambition with realism, and also include examples. And all these 5 questions, they have to be matched with the institutional goals and vision, and how you see yourself with them in the future if you are to work with them. Yeah. And these are common job interview questions that you would see usually if you sit for an interview. Yeah. For instance, common job interview question by themes, you would usually personal and background fit in terms of how you fit as a person, as a professional in their institution. For instance, tell me about yourself. Yeah, the most popular one. And what makes you a good fit for this company, and how culturally or professionally, and how your principles would be able to match with the institution that you are interested in. And what motivates you to work in this field, in terms of whether it is part of your personal interest or something that personal development. And also, you have to be ready in strengths, weaknesses, and skills. What are your greatest strengths that can be offered for the institution? And what is a weakness that you are currently working on? Yes, of course, you can tell a bit of your weakness. So, how do you manage to overcome the weakness? How do you working on it? Because interviewers would love to know like how you resolve certain problems, even for yourself, for your individual competence. And how do your skills align with the role? And this is, again, as I said, everything has to match with the institutional vision and mission. And problem solving and decision making, this is more to situational and behavioral questions, like describe a time when you solve a difficult problem, and you have to describe them, and you have to answer how your strategies and what you come up with that can be part of a problem solving skills. And can you give an example of a tough decision you made and the outcome? You have to understand what have you done. This is regardless whether you have a real work experience or also when you are studying during your undergrad degree. And yes, it can be it can be used as an example. And how do you handle unforeseen challenges at work? This is one of the most popular questions as well. This is to test your ability to kind of like do some sort of forecasting. Yeah, forecasting is if you have the ability of forecasting challenges and mitigation of challenges, that is pretty much, I think, one of the most coveted trait that interviewers, that recruiters are looking for at the moment, because it shows that you know your field, you know what you want, you know how to deal with challenges. Yeah. And then you would listen to, you would be asked some sort of question about teamwork and collaboration. Yes, as an applicant, as a candidate, of course you are able to answer things or answer questions that are based on your individual responses. But also it is important to become a team player. Yeah, and these questions are usually to test or to understand your team player characteristics and competence. Describe a situation where you work as part of a team, yeah, and how you deal with challenges as a team member or also as a team leader. It's very important. And how do you handle conflicts with co-workers? And also, can you share an example of how you contributed to a successful team project? Yeah, these teamwork and collaboration question, usually you have to be optimistic about it. Yeah, even though when they ask you challenges and you detail about a challenge, but you have to answer with optimism. Yeah, because you don't want to sound like you're whining, or you don't want to you experience all this bad experience with your challenges with your teamwork, but you don't have anything to offer. It's best to actually say the challenge, but also how you come up with resolution, and then how it helps with the teamwork. Yeah, so that would help to show your quality as both as a team leader as well as a team member. Yeah, and also leadership and initiative. Have you ever led a project or a team, and what was the outcome? And also, can you describe a time to take initiative to improve a process, and how do you motivate others? Also, these questions are usually asked to test your capabilities or abilities as a leader. At one point in your life, I think you would be given some sort of a leadership role. So these questions can predict your abilities in that sense. So you have to be ready about how do you lead your question about how do you lead your future team members, because it is also important for you to be able to handle the situations as a leader. So you have to be ready for these questions as well. And career goals and aspiration, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And how do you, these questions, how do you match it with the again, companies or institution mission and vision, and how you think you can offer them those particular qualities. Yeah. And what are your long-term career goals, and why are you what are your long-term career goals? So it's good to research the institution and company. Then you would know at one point like how they are promoting their staff, how they are promoting their workers, and you would be able to understand that. Yeah, and also it also shows your interest in working with them, not just working in them temporarily, but also for a long term. So it shows some sort of like you have done your research, and also you have prepared, and you also see the vision of the company and institutions. Yeah. And if you were to be asked about why are you leaving your current role, this is also it's good to highlight that you wish to develop yourself as a professional. You wish to develop yourself as an individual as well, and you would relate that in the job that you are looking for. Like, this will offer me much satisfaction in terms of working or environment or collaborative works and all those sort of things. Yeah. And company and role specific. Why do you want to work for this company? And what do you know about our products and services? And how do you see yourself contributing to this role? Yes, as I said earlier, you have to do research. And if you don't do much research or enough research, this is when you get stuck. And when you are stuck in an interview, it already tells that you are not interested to work with them, even for a long term. Yeah, but this is always tricky. And as I said, there are many sources out there that you can look into, not just particularly in the company or institution that you're looking for, but also you can compare it with other companies or institutions that you can maybe offer in your answers. Yeah, so it shows that you have done a lot of research and that you are very prepared for that particular job. Yeah. And next is to structure your response. Yes, of course, during an interview, you would be anxious. Usually people will be anxious because you have to manage your nervousness, and then you have to deliver good answers, and at the same time you have to control your body language. And there are many things happening during a job interview, and at the same time you want them to be interested in you, but at the same time also you don't want to sound overconfident and sound arrogant, but you want to be neutral. So it's always good to structure your response. Yeah, there's a STAR method for answering questions, regardless of verbally or in written. So it's always good with explaining a situation, so your interview understand your context or example, and then you would talk about the task and problem and challenge that you took responsible for and completing, and always then you describe the action that you took to complete the task and to reach the end goal. And you highlight your skills and how these actions are based on your professional decision and to address that particular question. And usually during this aspect, it is 60% that you have to be focused in that, and how does this action lead to R, which is the positive outcomes result of your action or efforts. It is important to highlight this quantifiable results. Here means that it's important to show evidential answers in your job interview. Yeah, so it means here it's always good to calm down. It's always good to calm down and structure your response from one to another, some sort of like forming a narrative. So you don't want to go from, this is the action that I've done in this. I forgot about telling you about this situation. It would confuse interviewers if you don't structure your response properly. So it's good to answer from step by step. First to explain the situation. This is what happened. This is the problem that I experienced in the past working with this coworker. This is when we had to deal with lots of customers at the same time. But and then based on my own experience, based on what I've studied in this in classroom or in lecture, this is what I've done, and it has resulted into a much more organized situation. So it shows some sort of a narrative from the situation, and then the action, and then the results. Yeah, it's always good to use the STAR method. Of course, from time to time, again, you might forget one thing or another, but it's good to have this structured response. for you to be able to deliver your idea or your answer in a much cohesive and coherent way. And then, good or bad, it's always good to understand which is, you know, what kind of interview is good, what kind of interview is bad, and also you have to know what type of interviewee is good and what type of interviewee is bad. Yeah, and with that, I think it's good to, instead of like me talking throughout the session, I would love you to watch a clip. I think this is very nice clip that I found. I don't know if we could connect. Yes.
Doctor, is it already played the video? Because from our side,
You see it?
it's not moving.
Oh, okay. I've played it already. Let me. Okay, let me do it again. Yeah. If I play it like this, do you see it?
Okay, yes, but we cannot hear the sound. Or I don't know, from my
Oh,
part, what about others? Can you listen to the video?
No.
No.
I know. Oh, yeah, same. Okay.
oh. Let me. Right. Let me handle this first. Yeah. Is it muted?
Yeah, it sounds like that. It looks like it's muted. Or maybe it's with a minimal voice.
Let me. Okay. Let me. It's actually maximum here already. Right. Bear with me, y'all.
Sure, sure, no problem. Take your time, doctor.
Okay. This is that. Uh, what if like this? Still?
Still no voice.
Oh. How about like this? Still? Mm,
Still. Or is there
cannot.
any? Yeah, it's not. It's not moving at all. Is there
Oh.
any way to play the video? Yeah. Mm, or can you, if let's say you save the video, in other file, perhaps you can play directly from it.
From here. Oh, okay. Let me check. Yeah.
Just try an error because I also not good with technology.
Oh, I'm
I
not
don't.
familiar with Google Meet actually.
Oh, so what platform that you're using from
We're
in
using Team and Zoom.
I see Teams and
I think,
Zoom.
yeah, let me try sharing this one.
What about students? Do you have any idea on how Dr. Najib can play the video?
How
I
about
think
this
they
one?
are good with the technology. If you have a suggestions always, you can suggest, yeah?
Did you see it?
Yeah, the video is moving, but I don't know why the sound is not we can hear the sound, yeah?
You still cannot see it. You cannot hear the sound.
Yeah, the video is moving nicely, yet we cannot hear the sound, the voice.
Okay.
So what's wrong with the sound?
Let me. I Oh, let me because it's working in my on my side.
Okay.
Oh,
How to solve the problem, yeah?
we still have time, correct? Yeah. So yeah, let me look around first. Like how to pl- mm,
Or I think when you join the Google Meet, if you're presenting something, they will appear two accounts. It seems from our side you are appearing two accounts. Uh, the part that you join the video is muted.
oh,
I don't know
how
whether I'm telling the right thing or not. So because the student showed to me that the screen that you shared the video just now is actually muted.
oh
Uh,
how do
once
I
you join, once you want to
how
present the video,
so
Iskandar, help him, Iskandar.
how do I okay, let's give it a little bit, like 3 to 4 minutes. Let me
Sure,
check
sure, no
on it.
problem. Others, if you have any bit or any way or suggestions, just help us here because I don't know how to solve the problem because we can see the video clearly. Yet we cannot hear the voice or we cannot listen clearly. You guys are good with technology, right?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
I always ask for my students if I face this kind of technology problem in my classroom.
Let me check speaker video. Yeah, it's coming current. Yeah, actually, even in the settings itself, everything is okay. Okay. Because this is the part of an activity that I want to do.
Or perhaps you can share the video directly to Panolizawati. So maybe we can play directly from our side, just like try and error.
Okay.
Coba
Maybe I can just share it on YouTube because I got it from YouTube. Then you can have it. It's just a very short.
the link. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me check. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Right. Let me chat with everyone. Yeah. I put it on the in the chat box.
Okay,
Maybe on
let's
your side.
try.
Yeah. Play it
Okay.
for me.
I try to open from my side.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you guys can directly open the YouTube link, or I don't know. I don't know. Let's try for my part whether I can like play directly or whether you can listen to the uh to the to the video. Do you have the sound?
Yes, we
Can you
do.
listen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. You have to.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Good question. To quote the renowned scholar 50 Cent, I plan to get rich or die trying.
What would you say your greatest achievement is?
I began my last job joining a failing team, and so was commended on my leadership in turning that around. The only thing was I was 8 and the other competitors were 10 or 11. So to come third was a real achievement, particularly as I'd never even seen a conker before. The next year, still, to be recognised at an industry awards gala was a surprise, but a nice surprise. Apparently, it had been in there for 5 years. My granny keeps it in a jar on top of her mantelpiece.
Can I inquire about your last role? Why did you leave?
Why? What have you heard? Of course. And I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't feel the job was a good fit for my aspirations. And I wanted to focus on finding a position that I could really make my own. And I believe that this is that role. What part of no comment don't you understand?
What would you say your biggest weakness is?
Delegation. I like things done right, and so I often end up taking on too much by myself.
I know how that feels. What would you say your biggest weakness is?
Delegation. I like things done right, so I often end up taking too much on myself.
All right. Okay.
Okay, back to you, Dr. Najib.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry for the
Problem.
hassle, yeah. So reflective session. So you've seen the video just now. I'll resume my presentation. Right. Reflective session. You've seen the video just now for the students, yeah? Could you tell me what's the different, which one is the good interviewee and which one is the bad interviewee? And why?
Or do we
Any
need to
students?
communicate?
Oh, any students? Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yes. We can listen.
Okay.
I was like thinking, do we need like to play or replay for the
Yeah,
second time,
that would be
perhaps?
great. Yeah, to have a replay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
sure.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe the students can take notes of which one is good, which one is bad, and how because it's good to have a reflectory session on that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
Right.
sure. I'll
Okay.
replay again, yeah.
Thank you.
Wait,
Ready,
yeah.
students? Yeah, I'm counting on you to take over the lecture.
Okay, sure. Wait, yeah, I also need to find where's the link just now.
In the chat box, I believe.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Wait, yeah.
とう気持ちささやかな幸せに満たさ
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Good question. To quote the renowned scholar 50 Cent, I plan to get rich or die trying.
What would you say your greatest achievement is?
I began my last job joining a failing team, and so was commended on my leadership in turning that around. The only thing was I was 8 and the other competitors were 10 or 11. So to come third was a real achievement, particularly as I'd never even seen a conker before. The next year, still, to be recognised at an industry awards gala was a surprise, but a nice surprise. Apparently, it had been in there for 5 years. My granny keeps it in a jar on top of her mantelpiece.
Can I inquire about your last role? Why did you leave?
Why? What have you heard? Of course. And I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't feel the job was a good fit for my aspirations. And I wanted to focus on finding a position that I could really make my own. And I believe that this is that role. What part of no comment don't you understand?
What would you say your biggest weakness is?
Delegation. I like things done right, and so I often end up taking on too much by myself.
I know how that feels. What would you say your biggest weakness is?
Delegation. I like things done right, so I often end up taking too much on myself.
All right. I think students will be more understand the video for the second time.
Yes.
For a dress,
All right. Could I ask any students who want to reflect on the video itself?
What was the question again just now, Doctor? After watch the video, which one?
Which one is the good interviewee? Which one is the bad interviewee? And the
Yeah.
reasons, yeah.
Which one is the good one? Which one or better? And which one is the
Not
bad?
so good.
Yeah, that's the good. Yeah, let's use with the phrase. Okay, anyone would like to respond?
Me.
Hi, Doctor. It's me again, Amira.
Okay, Amira. Okay.
In my opinion, I think the right candidate is a good example, and the left candidate answer inappropriate.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Amira. I
Thank you,
think
Amira.
Adila also would like to say something just now. I see Adila. Yes,
Yes,
Adila, proceed.
I like the right one too because uh, the way he talks look calm, look relaxed, and look formal rather than the left one.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adila.
I think
Response from Fazira. Yeah. In the chat box. I think the blue tie is a bad and the other one is good
yes.
one.
Thank
Okay.
you very much for the responses. Correct. I think you're well aware of spotting and identifying which interviewee is good and which one is less of a good interviewee. And if you could look into the you could decipher the interview cut. Wait, let me just yeah. Yes. Oh no. Wait. This one, I can't share my allow. Yes. Okay.
Okay. We can see this the screen. Okay.
All right. Okay, if you look into the watch the video just now, you could see the one in the one with the blue tie, the left one, would sound many of his responses are not factual, and then to some extent he didn't answer questions properly and might come off as rude to some extent. Yeah, and the right interviewee is more optimistic in terms of like even answering the weaknesses what is your weakness question. He would start off as something actually with optimistic answer that that would sound more reliable as a candidate. Yeah, and also if you look in if you understand properly the responses by the right interviewee, he correlates every answer or every response that he has with the institution. Yeah, reflect back to the institution. So it's not just answer per se, but also how he relates it with the institution itself. Yeah. So moving on to my next slide. So what makes a good interviewer? Always well prepared, as I said earlier. It's always good to be well prepared. Again, you research and understand the role and review your resume as well to confidently discuss your experience and skills. It's always good, as I said, it's always good to refer back to your CV and also refer back to the institution when you answer every question. And then clear and articulate communications. Yeah, this is very important. Again, the STAR method that I presented earlier would help you clear your communication and articulate your communication. And this is also most important when it comes to, because when it comes to tenses, yeah, because we're not native speakers of English, I believe, and it's always good to be careful with the tenses that you use, past tense, present tense, or present continuous tense, because it shows the time period of every instances that you are referring to. And also be good to answer only relevant and thoughtful responses, and don't dwell too much on things that are not necessary. It's always good to be friendly, but at the same time, always focus on the facts in your CVs and also in your in the job scopes and roles and institution that you are applying to. Always good to have an engaging and interesting conversations. And engage and interest, you could always project this through your body language, also through your answers, and also from asking them back questions. If you are interested into something, you can ask them back questions. And this is always a tip, that if you ask them questions, the recruiters, good questions, they will usually remember you more. And I will talk about that later. And be honest and be authentic, as I said earlier. It's also good to strike the balance between two rehearsing, but at the same time to be honest and authentic and to be natural in your answers. And of course, be ready professional in terms of appearance and also demeanor. You don't want to sound too bubbly. You don't want to sound too serious, but also it's good to have that professional demeanor. Yeah, back in the day, I was also being commented for being too bubbly when it comes to answering questions, that it sounds too friendly. So from time to time, I learned how to self-contain myself, not to answer too much, and to appear professional, and to have self-control is very crucial when it comes to do an interview. Yeah. I actually have activity mock interview, but we'll just pass this by because we don't have time for that. So far, if I could ask the students, what have you learned before I continue more? Can I ask the students, what have you learned so far from this lecture? I know you pretty much have experience as well, but what have you learned before I continue?
Okay, let's listen from your part, students. So
Yes.
far, I think we almost live 1 hour and a half,
Yeah.
1 hour 20 minutes like that. So what you have learned so far, yeah. It could be from your own words, yeah, not necessarily following the exact slides by Dr. Najib. We can hear perhaps from a few of you before we proceed.
The best way to answer the interview appropriately. Thank you, Nazira.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Mr.
Alright,
Raja.
again, my name is Rajana Harudin.
Yes.
So what I have learned for this session is just now I just asked to Dr. Najib about the hardest question, introduce yourself. So for me, what I learned is how to manage the script or the way that I need to answer the question, introduce yourself. So before this, my understanding is introduce yourself is we also need to include the what we call that our biography, but in this session I learned that not at all about our biography, but also focusing or highlighting the strength and our ability in certain part. So that's my answer for what I have learned for this session.
Thank you, Raja. Yeah, I wish you the best for your maybe next interview, job interviews. Yes, it's always good to keep around 3 to 4 minutes in terms of introducing yourself, not to bore the interviewers during the process, because they would give you like 30 to 40 minutes. If you detail on your biography the whole lot, they wouldn't have more questions to ask you. So we have to kind of know our role as interviewee, and we have to understand their role as interviewers in order for us to strike the balance. Yeah. Thank you for that comment. Maybe one more. What have you learned before I move on to the advanced tips of success? Yeah. All right. Noramir.
Hi, Doctor. So what I learned during this session is, I think I've learned the do and the don'ts during the interview session, and also I think I learned about it's important for us to do the research about the company first, and also it's important to prepare ourselves before the interview.
Great, thank you very much. That pretty much sum up my first 1 hour and 20 minutes of lecture. Thank you, Amira. Okay, let me read some of the in-call messages first. Yeah. Learn that is crucial. Yes, with seriousness and preparation. This reflects professionalism. I learned the importance of answering questions. Yes, using proper body language. And additionally, I discovered the value of preparing answers to potential questions. Yes, because it's always good to practice, because this is pretty much like one chance in a lifetime, but you have to compete with other job interviewees as well. So you have to. It's good to prepare. Let's just say that it's good to prepare. Yeah. Thank you very much for those responses. Yeah. I've learned from our discussion to be confident and critical thinking for me, plus for me also introduce ourselves. Yes, introducing yourself again, as Raja highlighted earlier. It's good to know that to strike the balance, and also to refer back again to your CV and how you contribute to the institution, because you don't want to just tell about yourself without correlating it to the constitution, because it would sound as if you are not interested in the job. Yeah. I've learned to do some don'ts and don't interview, and what should we do? All right, thank you very much. We'll continue. A few slides. A few slides. All right, advanced tips for success. Yeah. Again, curriculum vitae is very important for you to prepare a very refined curriculum vitae that is suited for that job. Yeah, and also please, when it comes to curriculum vitae, always proofread and correct all the spellings and errors, because curriculum vitae also represents you as a candidate. Yeah, if you don't have enough information in your curriculum vitae, it tells that you don't really want this job. But again, if you do it too much, then it's not good as well. So always understand the company's specification as well as the job description for you to reflect, for your curriculum vitae. It's don't because job applicants have this tendency. Sometimes they would use one curriculum vitae for all the jobs that they're applying to. That's not the way of doing it, because you have to tailor your curriculum vitae to the job roles and scopes, because it shows that you have made, it reflects that you have made a research about it, and you are keen to actually do the job. Yeah. And again, also body language, your eye contact, you're not moving too much that you won't sound bubbly, and be professional. And also these also include and how you dress up casually and according to the job description. And if it's an office job, then you have to dress like how an office worker would be. And handling difficult questions, again, as I said earlier, we have the STAR method that you could use in order for you to structure your response. And if you handle difficult questions, take time and breathe, and don't. It's always good to let the interviewers finish their question first and wait for, let's just say, several seconds, or but not too long, in order for you to gather your thoughts and responses, so you won't stumble upon your answer from time to time. Yeah. And interview etiquette, of course, it's whether to do it in person, one-on-one, or also through virtual etiquette. There are different ways of doing it. And again, come 30 minutes early, I would say 30 minutes earlier than the interview, to show that you are keen in that job. For instance, this is some sort of a technique as well. If you were to be seated outside and the interviewers see you that you're probably one of the earliest one to come, it shows that you really want the job. So it already gives you some sort of a impression to them, and it's good. It's good to have that. Yeah. And follow up. Okay, this is optional, but it is also good. A follow up to job interviews, maybe after a few days, you would send an email to the job recruiters, or where you submit all your CVs or documents, and do some sort of appreciation. Say that, okay, thank you for calling me for the interview, and I'm looking forward to hear positive response from you. Do some sort of an email to them, so it shows that you are keeping track on your interest towards working with them as well. So it's good to have a follow up. Yeah. Regardless of the decision whether to hire you or not, it's good to be polite, and it shows your politeness, and it shows still your interest, that maybe in the future, if they have let us say they have a vacancy, they can always call you back, because you have that added values as a person, as an individual, and as a professional. Yeah. And also, as I told you earlier, social media presence is also important. Yeah. In this case, let me, because I really want to see the students as well. Yeah. Social media presence, I had my own experience. This is my own experience. Yeah. Back in the days, I had what I call my own personal Instagram, and it was publicized. People can see it, and almost like a TikToker back in the days. Almost like a TikToker, I showed what I do every day, what I eat, what my sport, and all those sort of things. And these social media presence, sometimes they will also look into they will Google search you. And everything, if you put on the internet, everything can be seen. And sometimes they would use this as some sort of evidentiary document to be discussed on a meeting table. Yeah. And quite unfortunate, like for my side that time, this is what I've been told, but I got the job already in the university. But previously, they told me that sometimes my social media presence is too exposed, that it doesn't look academic, that they don't feel like, these people don't feel like I belong with them. Yeah. So after that, I learned my lesson. Everything is privatized now, but I also have my academic social media presence. But yeah, so that's why sometimes your personal lives also affects your job interviews. Yeah, so everything that you don't want to, for instance, that people have tendency to complain on social media, complain on let's just say like internet boards, or yeah, these aspects could jeopardize your chances to get a good job just because of certain things that you put on the internet. So social media presence is very important, and I hope you would consider from time to time what to post, because it will also represent you. Yeah. And we almost done with this. And this is my new advanced tips for success. More. This is something that I found quite recently, is the fact that you have to be ready for philosophical question and also making a lasting impression. Yeah. So some interviewers would ask you philosophical questions that might not sound relevant to the job scope itself or to the job roles. Yeah. Again, for instance, when I was interviewed for the current job that I am in, I was asked, that was the first question I was asked after the "tell me about yourself" question. I was asked about, they said, "Dr. Najib, why is there, why marriage, why a wedding arrangement is always successful?" But the job that I was applying to is an academic and lecturer. But all of a sudden, I got asked a question about, do you think, why do you think that marriage arrangement or marriage or wedding invitation, it's always successful? You don't see a marriage ceremony or wedding ceremony fail. It's not usual thing to see. And he suddenly said to me, like, why is that? Can you imagine having that sort of question? So yeah, that is totally unexpected question. Yes, but there are interviewers who are like that. Yeah. So I somehow managed to answer that successfully, because throughout the interviews, during the first, they would introduce you, right? Every interviewer, who is this person? Who is this one? What is the job scope? What is he doing here? They would tell you, every interviewer there, and what their job scope. Yeah, and you have to remember, you have to be very vigilant about that. You have to know what their job scope is. And then I answered, because this particular interviewer is actually from Jabatan Perkhidmatan Awam. So organizational structure and bureaucracy are his forte. So he would, in a way, I said to myself, okay, I would expect this interviewer would want me to answer about organizational mission, vision, as well as structure and bureaucracy. So I asked, when he asked me that question, I said, it's sensible if you have a team, if you have a team of, if your family have a team, make up a team, and know every each person or each member of the team knows their responsibility and roles, and if they can work together, so wedding ceremony could be done successfully. And if you know who to report to, if there's challenges and you know how to mitigate this challenge, then there's no such thing as wedding cancellation or marriage ceremony cancellation. So in a way, what I did was to correlate my answers and my knowledge and my experience to this man's job scope and responsibilities. And he was really happy with that. He actually nudged the head of the interviewers, and he said to the interviewers, he said, "Oh, you've got a very strong candidate here." So I know in that instance, I've already answered his questions successfully. So it's always good to know who your interviewers are, and also it's always good to relate your academic background, your skills, your expectations to what these people are doing. Yeah, so that would be good to do. And I kind of I've seen this again and again from interviewers that they are using philosophical questions. Yeah, for instance, they would ask you a question like, "Oh, you are in your lecture hall today, right? What is missing?" You know, that kind of question. It's not even related to the job scope. Let's just say you want to become an engineering officer, but then okay, then you have to correlate, as you would mention about what's missing in your lecture hall, but at the same time, you would say things from the engineering perspective. So in a way that you feel like you are in that session, they would know that you know what you're doing as an engineer. So it shows some sort of implication. Yeah. So it's good to be ready for philosophical question, and also to divert, to kind of maneuver the question to your experience and your skills, and also make a lasting impression. Okay, this is also, I like doing this when towards the end of the job interview, they would ask you question. Do you have any question for us? Yeah, that moment could change you, could make or break you, in a sense of, all right, when they ask you that question, always good to prepare some questions before you come into to a job interview, because towards the whole interview, right, they would ask you lots of questions, but then it's time for you to when they ask you, do you have any questions? Please come up with at least 1 or 2 questions relevant to the work itself. Yeah, because it shows, if you have a room full of 20 candidates, and always it's job interviews are very stressful moment, right? So usually people wouldn't have any question, and they would say like, "Oh, I don't have any question. Okay, that's all." In a way, it's good, but at the same time, you wouldn't be able to make a lasting impression. They don't really remember you. But if you ask them questions, it shows that you're interested in them. And it also shows that there is some sort of communication between you and understanding. And it shows that you're confident and you're not nervous enough to actually ask them questions. So always ask question. For instance, if they ask you, "What do you have any question?" Then you would ask relevant questions such as, "What do you expect?" Apart from the job descriptions or advertisement that you put on website and everywhere, what are extra qualities that you are looking for as a candidate for this job? Yeah. Also, you might ask philosophical questions, like, because during my interview, I actually asked them philosophical questions, because what I did was, these are higher officials, right? So they are they are seasoned to what they are doing. So when they ask me question, this is my own experience. When they ask me the question, Dr. Najib, do you have any question for us? Then I actually asked them. I said, yes, I have a few, but I'll start with one question first. And I asked them, you've been sitting on those chairs for so long, doing all the good job and great job. I wonder what makes you happy with your job? I actually asked them those questions, and the room became that time the room became so lively because it gives them some sort of a self-reflection as well, because they have been doing this job for so long, but nobody asked those questions. The question that what makes them happy, and at that time it was so lively that every interviewer actually wanted to answer my question based on their experience. So in a way, you have made a lasting impression. So they would remember you. Actually, when I met with some of these higher officials after I got the job, they actually said, "Oh, we remember you. You asked us that questions, and we know that you got the job already that time." I was like, "Oh, okay, then that's good." So in a way that it's good to have that to make a lasting impression. Yeah. So next is we're to question and answer. That's all, I think. Yeah, those are the two things that I never actually disclosed in the lecture. Philosophical question and make a lasting impression, but those are based on my experience that I feel you guys should know. And I do believe that competition are stiff when it comes to job clinching deal in job interviews, and yeah, it's always good to make a lasting impression. All right, if you have any questions, we have much like
Indeed. Okay. Let's start the ball rolling. Perhaps there were a few questions from the students back in their mind. You just can unmute your mic, or you can type your questions in the chat box. Yes, Amira.
Hi,
Press.
Doctor. Hi, Doctor. I would like to ask, from your past experience, do you have any experience in a group interview? And if yes, do you think which one like group interview or uh personal interview that actually that actually it's easier for you?
do you mean group interview or you mean panel interview?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Personal or panel interviews, yeah. Of
Yes,
course,
correct.
personal interview is much easier because you only have to face just one person. So it would sound like conversations between both of you, and of course, one-on-one interview, you only have one person to assess you. Yeah, but in the panel interviews, there are many people would assess you. Yeah, they would assess you from your body language. They would assess you from your responses, but it shows that when you are in a panel interview, it's a very important job. Yeah, because it involves many departments, it involves many institutions and many people to consider all aspects that you are dealing with. Yeah. But for me, in terms of difficulties, I would say panel interviews will be much more difficult. But then it is expected. Panel interview, because you have so many people that you want to have eye contact with. At the same time, you don't want to sound rude to some people. So you have to kind of like know how to maneuver the answers and the demeanors as well.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, but Nur Amra, you sounds very engaging in the sense that I didn't think you have problem with answering job interview questions, I believe, right?
Okay.
For your information, Doctor, actually, this subject, yeah, the code, the program that they are learning right now is actually preparing themselves for, I would say that the process of applying for a job. So we start with the first assessment. They need to come out with a cover letter and also e-resume.
Mm,
And then the second assessment is screen interview, which is I would say new in the landscape of job application process, where they need to record themselves for I think 4 to 5 minutes within the two
mm,
hours during the class time. That was their second assessment, and inshallah, I think in next 3 weeks or 4 weeks later on, they will go for the third assessment for this code, which is group interview. So I think that's why Nur Amira asking about the group interview just now, where
mm,
we the lecturer as the panel interview, and they need to come in groups. That will go back to their first assessment, where they need to prepare their e-resume and also cover letter. And before that, they have like
mhm.
to find the what we call that, the advertisement job vacancy that is suitable with them. So perhaps if you could share some tips, because I would say that I think I get the point where it's quite challenging for the group interview, right? Because they are actually competing among each
Mhm.
other to give the first impression to the
Yes.
interviewer. So what
Yes.
your tips, your general tips for them, especially for this
Okay.
assessment
I
coming
think
soon?
I think it's good. Okay. I think it's good. It's good to again your responses should be again focus on yourself, but always correlate with job scope and job roles and institution. And I know it's competitive, but never ever condemn your next candidates or your friends or other people when you answer questions, because sometimes during group interviews you would be asked questions like, what makes you a better candidate than the next person? Yeah, so you have to know how to answer this, and in a way that you want to highlight, amplify yourself, but focus on yourself and say, this is something that I think I could offer more in terms of this, but never said like, oh, they're not good enough. And you should consider me. So you have to be careful with your communication skills. I think one of now that we are doing panel interview with lecturers, I believe you will be doing that. I think one of the most important, one of the most difficult is with people that I know. Let's just say my lecturers. It's quite difficult actually, because you kind of have embedded in your mind that these people know you already, and how do you deliver your own opinions or principles that might not align with them, but yeah, but you want to answer them. Yeah, so always good to be objective. Yeah, to be objective in terms of yourself, in terms of your belief, and how it beneficial to the job that you are applying to. Yeah, regardless of who these interviewers are. I think I personally think that if I go to a job interview, let's just say this is mock interview that you guys will be doing, right? If I go to a job interview and I know these interviewers, for me that's much more difficult, because they're not strangers, because they would know things that you have done. Yeah. So, but at the same time, you could use that as advantage that you don't have to tell everything, because they know what you're doing as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that is a
Hi,
general tips from Dr. Najib. Okay, any other questions
uh,
to
hi,
Doctor?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Yes, Amar,
Hello.
Especially Dr.
Waalaikumsalam.
Najib. My name is Amar Zudi, and I have some questions. So,
Mm-hmm.
I recently went to an interview for my practical training or internship in some place, and to be honest, sometimes when I enter the interview rooms, I feel like a bit afraid to answer the question when they start to interview me, and because I'm worried to about getting the wrong answer and so on. So my questions, how to, if you mind, how do we want to handle it to answer those questions calmly and smoothly? I
Smoothly.
think that's my question.
I think I believe your question is more on how you manage your anxiety when you go to interview job interviews. I believe not so much of the knowledge that you have, but it seems like you are too nervous to deliver your answers. Correct. So I think it's good to calm down. It's good to calm down and. What I do, like for me, I always, of course, I baca surah here and there. I would recite Al-Fatiha just to calm myself down. And as I said, as long as you prepared, as long as you have researched enough, it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I think you just need to calm down a bit. Yeah, yes, there are many ways of doing this. Sometimes some people would think of the interviewers as their friends, so they wouldn't feel much nervous. Or sometimes because some people would think about, okay, they are strangers. I'm just going to deliver all my answers today, regardless of getting the job or not. It depends on. I'm not going to see them again. Yeah. So there are many ways for you to think, to reset your mind, to ensure that it's easy for you to manage your anxiety. But for you, I think it's always good to calm down. I don't know. There are many ways of calming down, and I can't tell you one way of doing it. But I would say baca Bismillah a lot, and should be fine. Yeah. Just calm down, then it will be easy. Everything will be breezy. And do research and preparation early. Yeah, if you do research, you shouldn't be worried too much.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Najib and Dr.
I
Shazam.
wish you the best with your next interview, a job interview. Yeah, just make sure to calm down. Yeah. And also good because it's good now that you realize that you have this some sort of anxiety attending a job interview, and then you can reflect from time to time. I think life and also every experience in your life it's kind of like a learning process and learning curve. So it's good to reflect. Okay, this is what I'm lacking in my last interview. What should I do with this? So it will help from time to time. Yeah, I've learned the same way as well. It doesn't always rainbows and unicorn when it comes to job interviews with me. Yeah, because sometimes because in the past because I was so excited telling about myself, I was one of the interviewers actually said to me that, oh, you sound a bit arrogant because you tell this and this and that. Yeah, so from that I know, okay, for my next interview I should lessen on this these attitudes and correlate it with this, so it sounds more professional. So it's a learning process, and you guys are still young, I believe, so don't worry. Yeah, as long as you don't give up, that's all. Yeah, just don't
Yes,
give up.
correct. As long as we don't give up, right? I
Yes,
do
don't
agree
give up.
with you, Doctor. Yeah, where I think everybody have our own ways or methods to to calm ourselves, right? So like you suggest, like you can go over salawat or say
Yes, still all
Bismillah,
right.
or I think my method will be self-talk, where I do calm myself by talking to myself. It's okay, Shazoni, you can do it. It's going to be few minutes. Like calming, like calm other person, but actually I'm like calming myself. Yeah. So
Yes,
you can always try any method that you think it works on you. Yeah.
sure.
Because everybody will have our own way to calm ourselves.
Yeah, I think it comes with confidence as well. One of
True.
the ways that I think I can share with the students as well. There are many self-affirmation videos out there, self-affirmation audios that you can listen to. I do that every morning. 10 minutes after I wake up, I listen to self-affirmation to kind of like build my confidence throughout the day. Yeah, you can hear in YouTube or wherever websites. It's actually good. Yeah, but also to have self-control, not to be too confident that you might sound arrogant. Yeah, it's always good to have self-control. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And this kind of like self-affirmation,
Yes.
to build our confidence, it's not gonna be like in the daytime or one day, suddenly you become
Yes.
confident. It's actually
Yeah.
habitual and it's a long process to go actually, right?
Mm-hmm. You
Okay,
can
doctor,
easily. Yeah.
we have one question, sorry, from
Okay.
the
All
chat
right.
box, from Nur Ain Najwa. Doctor, let's say that we cannot answer to the interviewer questions. Maybe it's regarding on the general knowledge or pop-up news on
Mm-hmm.
that day. So how are you going to answer to the interviewer politely? That's also common where we cannot answer the questions, we don't know the answer. So what
Mm-hmm.
should we say?
All right. Usually this again during my last interview as well, I couldn't answer one of the interviewer's question because it was some sort of an institutional documents and bureaucracy, which is sensible that you don't know. It's always good to try your best to answer in the general knowledge. For instance, or a pop-up news. For instance, like when I was asked about what is the 6 principles of perkhidmatan awam, or general service. Of course, I didn't know that, but I said like, it's good to be honest. I'm not very sure about that. I'm not very certain, but I believe general service should be this, and communication in terms of what, try your best, be honest, try your best, and also try not to lie that you know everything, because it also shows you as a candidate as well. I answered your question? Yeah, because there's a limit to us as a candidate. We don't know everything, but it's good to say that you are not sure about that. Yeah, I will get back to you in the future. But for now, all I can answer is this and this and that. You be honest that you don't know, but you try your best to answer, and that would be good enough. Yeah, they would understand, and sometimes they would tell you what they are because they want you to know. Yeah. Sometimes these questions are used to test you as a candidate, as an individual, whether you are defensive or not, or more to that. Yeah. Nur Asnita, Doctor, how important is body language in online and in-person interviews? Body language is very important. Yeah. Of course, eye contact is very important, and don't if you move too much, sometimes culturally they will feel like you are not too serious. Yeah, it is important, but one of the most important body languages that I think everyone should always remember is eye contact. So if you are asked by that one particular interviewer, do eye contact with him or her. Yeah, because eye contact shows honesty. Yeah, if you're looking down all the time, they can't even read you, and it shows that you are nervous as well. So eye contact shows confidence. Yeah, that is the most important thing. Of course, gesticulation is when you move your hand too much, because you can't help it, because you want to explain things. I have that problem from time to time, gesticulation all the time. But yeah, the most important thing is your eye contact. Yeah.
All right, eye contact is the most important question. Things or body language to take care of during the interview sessions. Yeah, regardless whether it's a online interview or in-person
Yes.
interview or face-to-face.
Also,
Okay, do we have, yeah.
eye contact is one thing, right? And also your body position. body position, because I have experience of answering in some sort of an arena. So I move my body position to that particular interviewer if I want to say, oh, this and that, yeah. So it shows that you're actually having a conversation with that particular person, because it shifts from one time to another. And also it's good to be polite with your tone as well, to make sure that you don't scream too much, you don't shout too much. And it's always good to ask that, could you hear me, in the very beginning of the interview, so you would find the right tone or loudness of your voice as well. So it's quite technical, but at the same time, if you keep on doing it, you would understand that this is quite natural to you. And I think one more thing that I might have not shared is to actually, this is what I do when I go to, when I have interview, let's say a week before the interview, I would try to eat healthy. I would try to take care of myself extra, recreationally, and I try to have a healthy mind from time to time towards the interview, so I could be more calm from time to time. It's very important actually, but people sometimes forget that. But it's always good to eat. Sometimes eat clean, you eat healthy food, for you to be able to have a clear mind during the interview itself. I'm sorry, but I have to say I try to avoid instant noodles.
It's a no.
Instant noodles. I avoid instant noodles. Before interviews, even before examination, even this one before lecture, I try to avoid instant noodles.
Even the food itself is not healthy. That's why it's instant. But I think it's really common among
Yes.
teenagers, especially students here. And then some sort of this ramen thing, from
Yes.
Korea, K-pop influence.
Sometimes MSG, a lot of this dry food, right? Fermented food, it slows down your mind process. So it kind of, sometimes you get slow. I eat from time to time, but always when I don't have any big job or interviews or what. So I would indulge myself, but I would that time I would be so slow a bit. So eat, drink healthy, and exercise is good.
Correct. It's like it's a process actually. I keep
Yes, it's a whole
reminding my
process.
students. Everything is about process actually. It's not like something that you acquire in one night or one day time. And it's of course the skills that you're acquiring also is like learning process. Maybe
True.
the first time you go for an interview, it's not good for you, or you think you didn't do well. Yet along the way, you will improve yourself.
Yes.
So, Doctor, I don't know. Let's wait for a few minutes. If there will have, if there are, they have questions to you.
All right.
Since the students here, they are going to graduated, I think, in 1 year or 1 year and a half next year, inshallah, if I'm not mistaken. So most of them are fresh graduates, and I would say novice, in applying job process and etc. So what will be, or what is, if you were to advise them, what will be the main or major skills that they need to polish on, especially on the interviewing skill session? Is it all, or which one is the major, or?
I think, again, as I said, to make yourself relevant to the institution is very important. That is the one thing, because you don't want to you don't want to separate explaining yourself just about yourself. It's also about you, and also what's your role and to the institution. How you kind of like connect those elements is very important. And anything else, like if you could answer very good answers, they would want to, everything else can be worked on after. But if you have that kind of like communication skills on how to convince them that you're very good, in terms of like providing them service or products or potential, it's good. Yeah. Because as you said earlier, Dr. Shazwani, there are fresh graduates, right? So what you could do is to kind of like understanding the company and how you can help the company in terms of prospect and how the company can help you in the future. If you can highlight all these things, you will be good. Yeah, you'll be very good to go, regardless of whether you have a work experience or not. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Connecting the dots, I would say.
Yeah, connecting the dots, and also I would say that along the way we have like to see ourselves also and improve. Okay, which part that you think is the most important at that time that you need to focus on? And of course, I
Yes.
think I would say that knowing the company that you are going for an interview, also I think I would say that that is the priority that you should focus on, where they want to see you know, how much you know or how eager you want to start your career with them, right? Or why are you here? Are you like really interested with the job, or because you don't have a job at that time, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so let's go. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, proceed,
Also,
doctor.
okay, just a tip. Yeah, this is also based on my own experience as well. Try to avoid any conflict of interest potential. Yeah, because sometimes you want to know this institution that you start to contact some people in the institution. So that is not a good practice. Yeah, because because you want to again, you strike the balance between having to know them but not knowing too much about them as well. Because I had an experience before also. This is for another university that I applied to, and I happened to communicate with the staff there, so I know a lot of things. What's going on in that university that I said it during the interviews itself. So it kind of like scared them to some extent because I know too much. Yeah. So you kind of it's not, they would see it as conflict of interest of me communicating with the staff there already before the interview. Yeah. So you have to kind of know when to say things and when to not say things. Yeah.
Okay, yes. All right. By the way, the attendance link is for all the three classes. Yeah. You can fill in the blanks. So I think there is yeah, okay. Mas Aida also is one of the lecturers teaching the code. There are three
Oh,
of us teaching the subject this semester, which is me myself, and then Panulizawati and also Panas Aida.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you very much. I wish I could be there, you know, to actually give a talk to the university.
yeah, yes.
It's quite. I mean, virtual platform sometimes can be difficult to maneuver. Yeah.
Exactly. Next year, Doctor, 2025. Come to UiTM Kedah. Have you been here in Kedah?
I haven't been to Kedah yet. Whenever I go to Malaysia, it's always KL. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, inshallah, in the future, yeah, 2025 will be kind of like a tour year for me. So I have to go to Malaysia and how to go to Indonesia and Singapore to do promotion about my books and stuff. So inshallah, maybe one day I could visit that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have the physical session later on then.
Yes. Yeah. I apologize for any inconveniences throughout this unexpected glitches from here and there. But I'm very much thankful for this opportunity. Thank you very much. Thank you for
No
Actually,
problem. I think I think the students learn a lot. So let
hopefully,
me end
hopefully.
nicely the session. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Dr. Najib, for such an insightful and engaging
Yeah.
sessions. Yeah, and I'm sure all of us have gained valuable strategies and tips to tackle job interviews with the greater confidence, inshallah. And your experience that you shared just now and the practical advice have certainly inspired us, not only the students, I will say, but also to all the lecturers. And to all the students or participants, thank you very much also for your active participation and thoughtful questions. And before we officially conclude, I would kindly request everyone to turn on your cameras, yeah, so we can take a group picture or screenshot to commemorate the session. Uh, Please, I think they just like, unmute their mic. Perhaps you can like turn on your camera for a while for the photo session. Let's see whether they are ready or not.
Yeah. Can I have a copy of this screenshot as well?
Yeah, sure. I think Puan Nolizawati can send to you
Thank you.
along together with a few screenshots before.
Yeah. And yeah, I wish all the students the best for your an academic year, your final year, and also for the job interviews. Yeah.
Okay, they are ready.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's start with the first one. Okay, ready everyone? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me copy paste first this somewhere. Okay, second time. Perhaps want to have a freestyle or mini love as usual. They like to do this mini love
Okay. I'm a
or peace.
generation where we use peace.
Yes, our generation is peace.
Yes.
Okay. Finally find the same generation like me. All right, smile everyone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you everyone. Don't forget to fill in your attendance, yeah. The feedback form together with the attendance link that we kindly ask you to fill out before leaving. Once again, a big thank you to Dr. Najib and all of you for making this webinar a success. We hope the knowledge and tips shared today will help you excel in your upcoming interviews, especially for the assessment tree and also your future endeavors, inshallah. Yeah. With that, we officially conclude today's webinar. Have a great day and we look forward to seeing you in the future sessions, inshallah. Goodbye and take care and have a nice short break for 1 week, yeah?
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
You, Doctor.
Dr. Najib.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't
Thank you,
forget to fill up the
Dr.
attendance,
Tazwani
yeah?
and Dr. Najib.
Yes, welcome.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Take care also. Please come back safe to the campus.
Amin.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Najib.
Okay, he has